Morning. The blue skies of the last week seem to have disappeared and the temperature has dropped a little. I've driven about half an hour from Morvik, where I did the last film, and I've pretty much just pulled off the road and look what I found. Now the spare hour or so before I need to get into Fort William to pick up some supplies. Now I do like rapidly running water, but something else is drawing me to this scene, and that's a stream of bubbles which is following the little waterfall. Let's see what we can do. I'm not sure I captured what I was thinking of there. The bubbles in the trail of water after the waterfall often form into swirls. And to capture that, you need quite a long exposure. The problem with that location was that the swirls themselves were being moved downstream, so with a long exposure it just sort of made a bit of a blur. Lovely location there. Now what I need to be looking for is an area of water that's trapped over stronger flows, and looking down from here I can see one. And of course there's a tree blocking the view. Landscape photographers never happy. If I can get far enough back with a long lens, I might be able to do it. Well, that was an interesting little excursion. It's a couple of times I've driven through Glengarry and wondered what I might find here. Now I know. Yet another area to add to my list of places to come back to. So I don't think I really captured what I had in mind, but I'll put up a little sequence for you anyway. So after the sequence, we'll pick up the story a little bit further on past Fort William, at one of my favourite locations, which I made a couple of films about, where I think something has changed. come back to Corran Ferry. I think the Corran Ferry has featured in a couple of films. First of all, I did a lockdown project, which is just a compilation of clips with a bit of music. Then last year I came back to photograph the lighthouse on the other side of the stretch of water as part of the road trip. 2022, not to be confused with 2020. The ferry crossing is just a 10-minute walk from the campsite. However, you have to walk alongside the A82, which is also featured in a few films. It can get a bit noisy. Now, the Corran Straits are about 10 miles down from Fort William on Loch Linhey, and the ferry runs across a very narrow point in the loch. This side provides a connection to the commerce and education possibilities at Fort William, and on the quieter side a link to Ardnamurchan and further on to the island of Mull. Without it, you're looking at a 30-mile drive or thereabouts. Not so bad on this side with the A82, but on the other side it's mostly single track with narrow stretches, hairpin bends, that kind of thing. I've done it in the van once and I wish I hadn't. The service is free to foot passengers, and thanks to a very progressive policy from the Scottish Government, it's quite reasonable even if you're taking a vehicle. So here we are, arriving at the Corran Ferry. There seems to be a problem, because the ferry is broken. That's okay, there's a backup ferry, except that's broken as well. Now, the walk I wanted to do was a circular route up into the trees behind the houses over there, through a small village and back around the coast towards the lighthouse. I'll put a few images and clips up. Here's what you could have seen. Okay, so I've missed out on a walk I wanted to do. I'll get over that. I don't want to be too light about this because this is going to be the situation for several months, and the headlines in the local newspapers are telling of hardship, children unable to go to school, that kind of thing. It's now April, and I gather the situation won't be resolved till about June. Right, let's find something else to do. I didn't quite get the waterfall I wanted at Morvich. Maybe there'll be something here. I do like a walk that starts with a footbridge. been here. I have a feeling I've seen those waterfalls before. It may have been on one of my first trips to Scotland. I'm going to have a hunt through the archives, see if I can find any old stills. I suspect it may have been before the era of video. So I'm going to finish this video off down by the shores of Loch Linnhe, back at the campsite. Well, that was an excursion to Glengarry, followed by an aborted trip on the Corran ferry to a fantastic walk on the other side of this loch. We would have followed the upper line of the trees down past the little settlements and back along the coastline to return again using the ferry service, but of course none of it happened. So this has been a bit of a strange episode. In the final sequence I used some archive footage. I have indeed been to this area before, to the waterfall we went to a little bit before. I rented a chalet here, I think it was about 2005. Tomorrow I head back to England. I'll be stopping at a couple of places on the way, and if there's something interesting there, of course I'll film it. I have been your avuncular host. Thanks for watching.